Hey y'all, good night or good morning, depending on if you've gone to sleep already or woken up or whatever. It's like close to 2:30 in the morning here in DC, and we just finished voting and wanted to give you all an update on what was a busy week and a lot going on. We just took a vote on the reauthorization of what's known as FISA Section 702, and FISA is a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act that was originally passed in 2008 and really in the aftermath of 9/11, trying to prevent, at that time, more terrorist attacks, but has since been renewed a few times and includes now surveillance for folks who were engaged in, narco trafficking. So there's a counterterrorism piece, a narco-terrorism piece, or narco trafficking piece, and then a cybersecurity element. But a lot of the debate has centered around a few things. First, so this surveillance is supposed to be on foreign persons, so non-U.S. persons, foreign persons outside of the United States. But over the years, there's been what's called incidental collection. If an American is communicating with somebody who is a target, in other words, somebody that the United States government is looking at as somebody who may be a terrorist or may be involved in drug trafficking now, once that piece was added. But there have been a lot of concerns with a few things. Number one, they wanted a 5-year reauthorization. So 5 years is a long time, especially considering with the Trump administration, you have intelligence agencies that, for example, won't tell us on those boat strikes with Venezuela, the 200 or more people that they've killed now in these boat strikes. They won't tell us what evidence they have against them, the names of the people, what they did, etc. And so there's a lot of skepticism among Democrats, but even some Republicans, about how much we can trust the intelligence agencies right now with what's going on. Again, this administration, even though it's not 702 directly, has at times ignored court orders. So there's a huge trust issue right now. So the 5 years that they were asking for was a long time. There's concern on the Democratic side, myself included, and even among Republicans, that that's quite a long time. So they couldn't get the votes and the bill stalled. There's a short-term 2-week extension until April 30th. So we'll come back next week and try to see if, there's some combination of reforms that will work. But honestly, folks over the years have pushed for a warrant requirement, for example, when U.S. persons are involved. And that hasn't happened. There's also, and I can't discuss it here because it's classified, but there's also a big concern that Senator Wyden has written to members of the House and the Senate about, and that concern still has not been addressed in the bill. So that was FISA. We also today had the vote on the Iran War Powers Resolution, and this resolution, if it was successful, it would have been the first step in essentially stopping the war and forcing President Trump to come to Congress to get permission to continue the war with Iran. And that failed by one vote. And so, unfortunately, I think it was like 214 to 213 and then one present. But it failed by one vote. So there may be another attempt. But that was an incredibly close vote, extremely consequential because of what, we don't know how long this war is going to carry on. We've seen other wars in the Middle East, obviously, in this century, go for 15 or 20 years and cost trillions of dollars. So there's a lot at stake. And then also this week, you all may have seen on the news that Todd Lyons, the acting director of ICE, turned in his resignation effective in May. And I never like to kick people on the way out, when they're leaving a job or stepping down or retiring or resigning or whatever it may be. But I have to say that I think many folks will agree that Todd Lyons did a lot of damage to this country, that under his direction, ICE caused a lot of harm, a lot of mayhem in cities, engaged in dehumanization and even brutalization of folks. And so, may he be remembered for the role that he played in all of this. And finally, y'all, I'm headed home, but we're organizing a group to go back to Dilley, that Dilley trailer prison, on May 5th, I believe, that week, because we're out. Originally, Congress, the House at least, was supposed to be out the week before, but they inverted the weeks. So now I'm back home that week in May, and we're organizing to take folks, several members of Congress, over to inspect Dilley. So just wanted to give you all an update, and we'll talk soon. Take care.